Howdy, and welcome to a very special episode 118 of In the Rabbit Hole's Urban Survival Podcast. In this episode, we cover Ebola, poopy diapers, and surfboards in survival. We're your hosts, Aaron
and Jason.
And you are in the rabbit hole, safe and sound. Everybody's wound up about Ebola, and you're going, but you guys were on Twitter tweeting out all kinds of news stories about Ebola. Here's the big takeaway. And to start, we're going to do the takeaway, and then I'm going to scare the crap out of you, and then I'm going to tell you to calm back down again. So, this is going to be fun. Here's the thing. Yes, we're on Twitter tweeting out the stories because, they're interesting. Two, it goes like this. Be aware of things.
Right.
It's okay to be concerned about things. It's not okay to freak out and react to the freak out. Here's one of the things on break while I was working on this ebook that we're putting out in the next couple of months. One of the things while I was working on that ebook, I gelled an idea that I've been thinking of, which is, and I was toying with the guys, like, why, especially with preppers, and guys, why do we run to tactical stuff so fast? And why is it like the first thing most people do? And I realized it's very just basic human instinct. Think about it. You can boil down human survival and reaction to danger, fight or flight. It's binary.
Yeah.
And what do we get? We get fight, tactical, guns, or we get flight. I got to bug out and move on. And it's like no concept of what either of those things mean or where we're going with that. But it's like, I got to bug out and I got to get some guns.
Primal instincts.
Fight or flight. And it's binary. And that's it. And in a lot of ways, so what happens is you get that fight or flight that kicks in. You immediately start prepping that way based on that, as opposed to, hey, water might be more important, even more important than food in most instances. I should start with water, or okay, I'm done with water. That was pretty quick. Okay, I should work on food. And while I'm working on food, okay, I can start tiptoeing into the tactical stuff. And so what all this has done is that fight or flight kicks in, you get that binary response, and you're kind of going in opposite directions. You're worried about bugging out. You're worried about guns. You're worried about tactical, and you're not thinking through basic stuff like, is this really a big deal? Okay. Ebola, and here's the part where I'm going to freak you out.
All right.
And then I'm going to tell you to take a deep, deep breath. If you do back of the envelope math, which no one is putting out in the news, at least not super, unless it's super buried. If you take in the mortality rate of Ebola, split the difference, say it's 68%, and you take its current infection rate, which is for every one person that gets it, 1.5 to 2 people become infected. So every 3 weeks, the number of people infected doubles. You would end up with 1.1 billion people dead by January 14th, 2016. That is 1/7 of the entire human population, or actually it's more than 1/7 of the entire human population gone in a year. Is there
a way we can speed that up a little bit?
See, you just got excited. A lot of other people are like, oh my God, we're all gonna... But see, there's a lot of other complications to it. So we're going to really get people wound up, which is when you lose that much of a population, you're talking about wars, famine, right? You're talking about total unfettered chaos and not like bachelor party, fun, total anarchy and chaos. You're talking about true, just the whole world has just gone to crap. Here's the reality here. That's possible. Just like Ebola going airborne is possible. Here are the caveats. Yeah, it could spread. We could get to that crazy number I just threw out a minute ago, which is not scientifically proven. And I am not a medical professional, a doctor, or I'm not professional in any way, shape, or form. Hell, I'm here in a podcast in yoga shorts. There is almost nothing different that you would do in a big Ebola breakout that you would do in a zombie apocalypse or, economic collapse. You're most likely going to have to bug in for an extended period of time. You're going to need a whole lot of water. You're going to need a whole lot of food. You're going to need to deal with bad people or just desperate people that would want to take your stuff. It's all exactly the same. There is nothing different. And if it becomes airborne, we are all so screwed if it actually did become airborne. If it did become as hardy and as easy to pass from one person to the next as, say, influenza, the common flu, which kills a hell of a lot more people every year than Ebola has ever done. And so it's just not worth worrying about.
Yeah.
It's worth being concerned about. And we'll continue tweeting about it because the stories are interesting, and it doesn't matter whatever's out there is what we're going to be, what we see part of the podcast as being is keeping people aware of, hey, here's something going on. Maybe you're aware of it. Maybe you're not. Maybe you just like, somebody else who's just as obsessive about it as you are, who's paying attention and really watching it to let you know little tidbits throughout the day. And so that's what we've been doing with that. And I just really want to calm people down. It's not the end of the world as we know it. I should take that. I do not believe it is. I am concerned about it. I am staying aware of it, but I'm not. It doesn't change my preps in any way. I'm not going to buy more rubber gloves today than I did yesterday. I'm not going to buy N95 masks. Well, not more than I already have. And I think that's the thing that going back to, we get worked up and we think, oh my God, there's this danger. I have to take care of the danger, and not think, wait, is that danger really right here? Or, and is that danger actually different in any way, shape, or form than any of the other dangers that I've already prepared myself for? So,
see, man, this kind of runs full circle, because we're talking about something that real recently came up in the media. We start freaking out. We start, get that mode.
Yeah.
Take a step back. Take a deep breath. All right. So, what's really important?
Exactly.
How much of a threat is this really? I know the media is hyping it up, and we're all, it's getting us in a big, tizzy. But in reality, the likelihood of us actually getting Ebola, very small. So why waste our valuable time on this planet stressing that much more over this when we're actually already should be prepped for 90% of whatever's going to come our way, and let that time and energy get taken away from what is really life is all about, and that's living it.
Yeah.
Sharing it with the people that you love, and having adventures, and don't let all this stuff get so wrapped up and take, away the stuff that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Breathe, sir.
I have always wanted a hazmat suit. But
that's just because your fascination of Star Wars. You wanted to sound like Darth Vader.
Well, yeah. Although I was more partial to Boba Fett. His outfit was cooler. I don't know, but they both had capes. Very fashionable, very festive. But in all seriousness, yeah, I mean, it's all the same. It's like, focus on your life, and if you're gonna prep, focus on the things that really matter. Focus on the basics.
Yeah.
You don't need the stuff. I mean, if you have the money and you just want to do it, and it'll actually make you feel better, and you'll be able to sleep better at night, fine, I won't fault you for it. But to be so consumed by it, I think is unnecessary. Like
that's the whole point of this conversation is not to get completely overly consumed by it, where it's taking away from living your life.
Thank you for the perfect segue into the next section, Jason, which is, what were we up to while we were on break? But before we dive into that, next week we are going to have the survival doctor back, who's going to go into more detail about Ebola and what you can do to prepare for it. Anyway, we've been holding off on this just because things have been so crazy lately. And I know, like, when we left off last season, we're like, we're going to do all this crazy stuff, and we're going to clear it all up when we first come back. And then a lot of rather interesting things happened. Shenanigans and good stories and bad stories and happy stories and sad stories while we were gone. And so now we're just going to go ahead and lob it on the end of James's thing so that we can go ahead and get people caught up on what's been going on. So we left off, and we're going to start off with the good news. Jason, you and Jonathan both,
yes,
but he's not here to tell us about his because whatever. But in all seriousness, he is taking care of his happy moment at the moment.
Yes.
But what was it? You followed the survival rule number 2 after you save yourself. Replicate. Make a baby.
Yes, sir. Having a little girl would be my luck.
It would be your luck. Mine's going to be worse. I'm going to have twin girls or something. Although you and I were just as bad as young men and old men too. So I think you may actually be worse than me.
And we went quite a long time and kind of shaking off that whole marriage commitment thing for a long time.
Yeah.
You were kind of owed karmic due.
Yeah. I'm pushing 40 and you are now 40.
The big
So
40,
yeah,
sir.
it
Yes,
was
sir.
kind of time to, by a lot of people's measure, long overdue. Like at this point, people were like, all right, are you just going to be a lifelong drunken bachelor or what are you going to do here with yourself? And I know, well, that was mostly my mother asking that question, but you know, in all seriousness. So dude, congratulations.
Man, thank you, sir. Thank
You and
sir.
Jonathan both, even though he's not here. He just literally, I was just chatting back and forth with him a little while earlier today, and they just took their new young one home.
Yeah.
Craziness. You guys are like running off and getting married and having kids on me and stuff.
I know. And what's funny is somehow you got out of not procreating during this time period, because I've got two other very close friends of mine that are both, one is actually due a day later than me, and then another one due about 30 days later.
It was on purpose. It was like something was in the water, so I was just like extra careful.
That's why you wouldn't come out of the office.
Exactly.
Only filtered water.
Exactly. Yeah.
Organic food.
Nothing. No, I wouldn't let women come within like 10 feet of me, certain days of the week or whatever. I don't know. I'm making stuff up at this point. But yeah, no, I personally, I'm ready to do it. I mean, I was ready to do it a long time ago, and then just, different things in life happen and situations, and, that pageant girl you thought was so wonderful. No, trying to marry Miss America is a terrible idea. It's a story for, well, never. But, anyway, moving
That's
on.
Dead buried.
No, that is dead buried and under, not literally. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. But
you peed on that a long time ago, dude. It's good. It's good.
Bottle of whiskey and some urine on that one. But in all seriousness, dude, that's awesome. And
it's totally going to change up my whole prep thing. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I've been checking out tactical strollers, how to stuff guns in, baby bags. I'm going to have some really cool, like, not even gray, gray tactical. We're talking pink tactical, baby.
Yeah. Well, little girls with unicorns and rainbows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that is awesome.
Hidden CZ, couple extra mags.
There you go.
Hell yeah. Multi-tool is always on me. I've got it covered, man.
Guns and diapers. It's like a whole separate show now. I don't know what to make of all this.
We are definitely going to do a show on
guns and diapers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Actually, that's going to be the title of the show, Guns and Diapers.
There you go.
It's prepping prepping for a bug out with a small child.
We'll probably have to do that season 5, because first you got to get settled in, and the whole overcommitment thing, and you're going to be changing diapers here pretty soon and slinging baby poop, which I've done my time slinging baby poop, which is another story for never. But yeah, so you're gonna get through the super nasty diaper phase, and then we can talk about life as a
father. Wow, that just scares me.
Daughter.
I think that's the first time I've actually said that.
Yeah. No, You've said it before on the farm, but you were tired and sweaty, and it was like, I'm gonna have a daughter. Oh crap, I'm gonna have a daughter.
No, it's actually being a father. Me actually saying the words father.
That's true. I don't think I have ever heard you say the words father.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. It kind of gets you like right there, wherever there is. Yeah. It's an audio show. Nobody can see me pointing anywhere, but dude, that's just crazy. It was hysterical because it was like both you and Jonathan. And I really was just like, I am so not going on a date or doing anything right now while all you maniacs, our friends that are into prep and our friends that aren't into prep that make fun of us and all kinds of, everybody was just getting people knocked up. And I'm like, I'm staying in. Just not the right mindset, right? Not mind frame or whatever right now for it. But yeah, no, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
See what happens? We go on break and knock up women and do stuff, go off and get married and take up surfing and
yeah, dude. Talk about some of this new little projects you've got going on.
So
man.
I've got a lot of weird. So right, part of the reason was like I did get a few emails from people that were like, "What was the deal with the end of last season?" And it was just like the universe opened up and pooped on me. I was just like, what could go wrong. And it literally got to the point next where it was like, I would call you or I would call Jonathan and I would just start laughing. I was like, you're never going to believe this. You're never going to believe this. So we to the big one is we lost the Tactical Weimaraner.
Yeah.
And as I joke, I got a lot of used mileage. I got a lot of mileage out of that used Weimaraner, if I can get that joke out correctly. There's a huge hole in my heart now. I miss that. I miss that little bastard so much. And he is still in the studio, not passing gas now. He's up there on top of the gun safe and still with us for every recording, but he's not laying around passing gas during the episodes. So that happened. And then it was like a week later, like I'm sitting there just like, oh my God, I can't imagine my life without this dog. I had that dog for 14 years or something like that.
I mean, I have a hard time remembering back that far when he wasn't around.
Yeah, and we've known each other for 20 years.
We don't
over 20 years. and so the week after that, which was good, it wasn't the week before because we ended up having to take him. I really didn't want to do it, and I'm in general not a fan of euthanasia. And here's my reasoning for it, which is just like that animal can't verbally say, I'm ready to check out. I don't get to have that definitive permission to say, I'm ready to go. And so, and part of it, it was just selfishness. Like, I want to hang on to this dog for forever. But it literally got to the point where he went downhill really fast. And it got to the point where I was having to he couldn't get up off his bed. And I was having to pick him up off his bed and carry him outside just so that he could poop and pee. And then even beyond that, it quickly progressed to where I would have to stand there and hold him up by his midsection and get peed on a few times so that he could use the restroom.
Yeah.
And then within very short order, he was to the point where it was like I was having to set his food and water next to his bed to the point where he could just kind of lean his face over and stick his tongue in it. And then he just completely, when he wouldn't eat, and this is going to sound bizarre, when he wouldn't eat Three Brothers bagels, I knew it was time, and I'll explain that in a second, but I knew it was time. It was like, okay. And that was when I called the vet, and I was like, we'll be in tomorrow. It's time. The joke with the Three Brothers, I don't know what they put in their bagels, but he had a thing for bagels specifically from that bakery. Baron wasn't really food driven. I really don't know what he was driven by. There was like nothing.
Being next to you,
being next to me was about it. Like people have prey drive dogs and food drive dogs. I had an errand drive dog, and that was all that dog cared about. But except when it came to bagels, specifically those Three Brothers bagels, the dog would like fight you for a bagel. He would. I mean, like there were times where I would take him up to the family office, and we had a thing in our family. It was like we always had fresh bread, and because we lived for forever down the street from this bakery. And my mother would have to, because they have a big kitchen at their office, she would have to put the stuff up on the top shelf to keep the crazy dog. And he would just stand there with these big eyes, like howling and barking at the bagels. And then he was like, oh, I'm actually not a small dog. I can jump up on top of this kitchen counter, which was a kind of a 3-ring circus because it was like slick stainless steel countertop. And he'd just go sailing, but he didn't give up. He was a mountain goat. He'd keep getting up there and going after those bagels. So anyway, that's when I knew it was time. So the next week, my truck died. That was entertaining, and there was other stuff. And now I can't even. All I can really remember is that the dog passed away. But it was just like there was like 4 or 5 other things that happened. And
the chickens.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. Yeah. But they all just happened like one right after the other. So one week, Baron goes. The next week, my truck dies. And I loved that stupid truck. And then the week after that, we had a pack of stray dogs got onto the farm, ate. They didn't even eat. They just destroyed all of our chickens. Like 3 years worth of work just down the tubes.
And even took out a couple rabbits.
Yeah, they did.
That was the most bizarre thing.
One of our prize rabbits, I won't go into detail about it, but they managed to basically get an arm through the cage. And these cages, they're not low. I mean, they're hung up about, what would you say, 3.5, maybe 4, not. Yeah, I think the base of them is about 3.5 to 4 feet off the ground.
I mean, I can squat underneath them, so I mean, it's pretty high.
Yeah, and because we hung the cages so that they would be at chest height, so it was easy just for us.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not a big dude, but I mean, I'm 5'10",
Yeah,
and you're 6 foot.
Yeah.
And so we just made it so we could just stick our arms straight into the cages. And the weirdest thing was they were like, apparently they were there all night. And after they were done with the chickens, they were like jumping up and nipping at the rabbits. And one rabbit, they got a leg. Most of the rabbits, they just chewed toes.
Yeah. Bizarre.
Off of like 75% of the rabbits. So now we have all these gimpy toeless rabbits, which is just a mess. And so it was just like, and that was the point at which I would call you and I'd just be like, you're never going to believe it. And I would just start laughing and I'd be like, all our chickens are dead, dude.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, why are you laughing? I'm like, I just, So
and what's like even worse is, I mean, I was out of the country at the time.
Yeah, I didn't even bother telling you because you were off on a good trip, and I told your wife, but I was just like, "Don't tell Jason. It'll just piss him off and ruin his trip." And I'll tell him when he gets back. So it was just a giant. It was because we had 38 or 40 chickens.
Yeah, it was somewhere up in there.
It was somewhere up in there, and most of it was like we badly needed to call. We were about twice at what the capacity what we should have been at, but just destroyed everything, including our special tactical chickens that you have been building our special tactical chicken line for all this time. That
actually killed me the most.
I knew it would. So then I was just like,
even after the second batch, man, when they came back and they got those,
yeah. And it was like, so yeah, I did get a little crazy with it. And I went up there with my tricked out kid, 22 suppressed. It was funny because everybody I knew immediately was like, because I did get there and saw the dogs and everybody's like, you didn't shoot them. I'm like, no, I'm not going to start cooking off rounds in the middle of downtown Houston. I mean, that might get me into a little bit of trouble here. And yeah, I was angry, but at that point I was just like, oh, of course it would be stray dogs killing everything at this point. And so, no, I spent a few nights up there with my suppressed 20. I could never catch them. So, and people were like, put up game cams and do all that. And I'm like, I already know what they look like, so I don't need to do that. It's random when they come up there. All I'm going to do is see pictures of them coming and going. That's not going to tell me anything. So I did do a little bit of tracking skills and put out dirt in a specific area where they were going back and forth so that I could kind of get a sense of when they were coming and when they were going, instead of spending a bunch of money on game cams that ultimately weren't going to do me any good. But yeah, so we still have to finish fortifying the farm now because one of them is still getting through the bars. Because we did have eight chicks in reserve that were in the garage. And I thought we had secured the farm enough and put up enough bars and everything and blocked the holes. But I guess there was a small like min pin that was part of this pack, and that must have been what got through the second time and killed the chickens again. So we lost our tactical chickens, which was very sad because they were beautiful chickens.
Yeah.
They were a cross between black Australorps and Americanas. And so they would come out these kind of slate gray chickens with like black tips on their feathers.
Yeah. It almost looked like fish scales almost.
It did. It looked like urban camo. It was kind of cool. It was really neat. So that we had that go on, and of course we had all this stuff going on. We never did get to our water system.
I know, God.
So we did have like a whole bunch of trees that needed to be trimmed back that were actually scraping against the building and cause all kinds of problems. And even that, I was just like, oh, forget it. I'm just going to pay a tree trimming service to come by and clear all that out. But now we have like a ton of wood chips to play with. I don't know what we're going to do with that, but we have a ton of wood chips. We have mulch. Woohoo! So, but yeah, we got like nothing done this summer that we meant to do.
Yeah, with the farm, but I mean, for just personal wise,
personal wise, we did a lot of stuff. We did a lot of. You went to Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, I even put a in the rabbit hole sticker on the peak.
Yes,
of Kilimanjaro.
Yes.
Come on.
No, we did a lot of personal stuff. Like, so I took up surfing, which
you needed to find your zen bad, man. After that, just roller coaster, you needed to find your zen, man.
Yeah, and it was so Jen and I got back together again and started dating during the break again and everything. And we're both very athletic, but we don't like the same. I can run. I'm not supposed to run because of all the metal and titanium parts that are in my back. And the doctors basically was like, you can run. It's just a matter of how fast you want to be back in here for a tune-up and get more metal in your back. And I'm like, all right, fine. Because I used to run 6 miles a day and I loved running. And that's Jen's big thing is running and yoga and all this other stuff. And some of it I can do. Some of it I'm just like, nah, no, I don't really want more metal parts. I mean, I'm going to have more metal parts within the next few years anyway, but I don't want to, having been through one massive back surgery, I don't really want to go through that again. I'm not in a rush to do that. So, and the more time I give it, the better they get at it. So I'm putting that off as long as possible. But so in sitting down together, and she and I were trying to figure out, okay, like both of us are so busy. She's basically in medical school, and I've got, 10 million irons in the fire. What can we do? And yes, this is a survival skill because, this is teamwork here.
Yeah.
And so it was okay. One of the big problems was we don't spend enough time together. Mm-hmm. And that became an aggravation for both of us. So I went to her and I was really I was like, okay, I've got to really put effort into this and really think about it and not treat her as another job. And I think as men, we are terrible about that. We have a bad tendency to, we get a woman in our life, we get children in our life, and we look at them like a dog with a ball and like, you are a job. I have to do X, Y, and Z, and then I got to be off to the next thing. And they're like, hey, why are you speeding off there? It doesn't make me feel too good about things. And so realizing it's not a job, and this is somebody that you do love and you do care about and you want to spend time with them. Mm-hmm. And so you do actually have to put that effort into it. So we looked at a bunch of different like physical activities outside of the adult activities. So we looked, it was like, okay, what are we going to do? And I was like, I've been surfing a few times. I love it. I think it's amazing. What if we go down to Galveston Island and I'll pay for surf lessons and we'll just see if we like it. And so she and I did. We ended up just absolutely, like, I already loved it. And she just fell in love with it. I knew she would. I mean, she loves anything that's athletic and physical. So we took a few more lessons and then we bought surfboards. And so now that's become a thing, like where I'll take off. Until we got into October, I was taking off half a day once a week and we would go surfing together and just spend like 2 hours together out on the water, sometimes 4 hours out on the water, just surfing, hanging out, having a good time. Then of course we'd, go eat afterwards and just relax and take it easy and enjoy each other and not look at each other as you're this job and I've got to fill time with you. And instead it's like, let's go do something fun. So I did have that very Zen moment and that did relax me and that got me, back into feeling better about just life in general. And
you came back to being Aaron again, sir.
Yeah, not quite so. Yeah, because y'all got to miss that while we were off on break. I got a little just tired of everything.
I was going to start feeding him some like Quaaludes in his water or something. I was like, man.
Hey, I'm still game for that. I'm still totally down for that. I'm not opposed to that. But yeah, no, I mean, I needed the release. And I think that's a big survival lesson because so many of us spend so much time thinking about so much dark stuff like Ebola, which we'll come to towards the end, and whatever, ISIS terrorists at our door or Ebola or economy collapsing. We spend so much time, a lot of us as preppers, we spend so much time basically self-winding, and that's hard for a lot of preppers to try to communicate and have a conversation with non-preppers because they don't get why
we're so wound up.
Some of us are so wound up. And it's like, well, I spend probably too much time thinking about really dark, messed up stuff and and what I need to do. And thinking of that there's a time limit between now and, hey, that could happen any minute. So I got to be freaking Swiss Army knife of whatever survive. And I got to do it going back to a dog with a ball. I got to do this and I got to do that. And it's got to be done by here. And the zombies are going to rise tomorrow. The Ebola zombies and whatever. And so we tend to freak ourselves out.
Yeah, you kind of need a vacation, dude.
I did. So it wasn't a real vacation, but it was a regular release.
You got an outlet.
Stuff. Yes.
You had needed to go have some fun for a very long time, sir.
So, and I definitely had a lot of fun. And so I'm just a little sad that it's coming up on winter and fall now, which actually I've heard the surfing in Galveston, which is not amazing surf. It's not surfing in Malibu with Neil Strauss, but it's fun and it's cool and it's still getting out there and doing something and it's still great. And now I got to go buy a winter, or I guess for Texas anyway, I got to buy a spring wetsuit.
I mean, you need to buy a wetsuit, period.
Yeah, exactly. as opposed to going out there with just jorts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny. Like there was a whole thing with it, which is a rash guard, and a rash guard is basically like an athletic shirt that you wear so that you don't rub yourself raw on the wax that's on the top of the boards. And it was funny. It was even, during the middle of summer, I was like, I ain't even wearing this stupid. I'm just, you know what? My nipples just can man up, and I'm gonna get some callous nipple. I can't talk. Calloused nipples here, and I'm going to toughen up. And there's a whole lot of chest hair embedded in the wax of my surfboard now. Because I'm just like, it's too hot. I don't even want to wear this freaking rash guard now. So yeah, Jen was like, "Why does your surfboard look like a chia pet?" And I'm like, "I'm a hairy bastard. Leave me alone. What do you want? I'm a little gorilla." So, but anyway, so we definitely had that fun, and of course we went and got to blow off some steam with James. And I just almost call him Gray again. James Price,
Joshua,
and hang out and meet a lot of really cool guys and play with airsoft and shoot people and do stuff and all that fun stuff. So we had but we didn't really do that much survival stuff except an important survival thing, which is unplugging and learning to take care of ourselves a lot.
Yeah, we rediscovered life, sir.
Yes.
That doing all this prep is completely pointless unless we're out having some fun and doing something with our life.
Yeah, there definitely has to be some balance.
Yeah,
there really does. I mean, that was, I think, and after doing 4 seasons of the show and working so much and doing all this other things and I was really busy long before we started doing this show and everything else, but that really drove it home. It was like, wow, I've got to find a place to unload. Otherwise, and I don't have anything against Jack Sparrow. I respect the hell out of and really like Jack Sparrow a lot, but I don't want to start sounding like him or like Rush Limbaugh by being the guy that comes on and screams at you during the radio, where you spend the episodes going, man, any second I'm going to have to listen to that guy have a freaking heart attack on the air. This is terrible. I can't take this. All kidding aside, I mean, it's you got to find outlets. You got to find joy in life. Otherwise, what's the freaking point?
Exactly, man. It's that whole Zen balance, man. You hear I'm the hippie of the group. You got to find that whole balance and kind of, you understand what your purpose in life is, but you also have to balance it out with, taking care of the people that are around you. It goes back to survival chi, man. It really does.
It really does. And that's I think the two things, and it doesn't matter what you do in life, when you get busy and when you get focused on something, the two things you're quickest to toss to the side are the people you love and that love you back, and yourself. And it usually starts with yourself.
Yeah.
And that does go back to survival chi, man.
It does.
It all does. My chi was all out of whack.
Man, you just need to get your Zen back and like realign your chakras. Man.
Yeah, and it's funny because like starting this season, man, I was like doing the recordings and everything. It was like we're like a month ahead schedule now.
I was like, damn, he's on it this year. All right, cool.
And I'm like, all right, we're just starting to do video, and I'm rebuilding the whole website, and I'm rebuilding the whole forum, and it's like, and it's funny because I look at it and I'm like, I got a lot of stuff done in the last couple of weeks, and it's like my energy level is so much higher now because it's like I'm doing all that stuff and taking. Even stuff like I'm taking all of the past episodes and converting them into video, which I mean, there's nothing to really look at, but there's a title plate and everything. And so now all of the episodes we've ever made will be on YouTube as soon as I'm done. I can get about, since the shows are kind of long, I mean, I can only get up about 4 episodes a day, and I haven't done it the last couple of days, but there's already, I think it's up to episode 35 or 36 is now on our YouTube channel. And so people that have had problems with the podcast before in the past or whatever, or just like YouTube, and YouTube's not blocked from work or whatever, can now go there and start doing it. And I'm hoping that before the end of the season, we'll be completely caught up where all of the past episodes are on YouTube, and then we'll start getting the episodes on YouTube as this about the same time as they come out on podcast. And plus we're going to start doing the video version of the podcast, and that'll go on YouTube plus all of our
that's gonna be fun
videos. And so, yeah, we've got a lot of stuff. The tricky part now is learning to balance the video and audio part, because we've just done audio for so long, and now I have a new obsession, which is playing with video.
I know I won't be able to pick my nose, and actually I have to shave before I come in.
No. I should just be like this. Hell, I'm wearing yoga pants right now, and I'm going to continue. These aren't even pants. I'm wearing like tight, like string, like yoga shorts, and I'm going to continue wearing them. I haven't even bathed today. It's not
awesome.
smell-o-vision, so I mean, screw it. Why not? But anyway, yeah, no, it was good. It was a good break. Got a lot done and definitely recharged the batteries. And I'm starting to personally see that. I mean, I see that in you after when you came back from Kilimanjaro and everything, just being a lot more productive and really nailing some stuff. Being like, all right, I'm not drained and dragging and resentful of things, which happens to all of us. We get busy and then we become kind of a growly bear.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
I have that gene that I needed to go on some crazy ass adventure every once in a while in my life to kind of shake me back to reality.
Yeah, that is the one thing I am long overdue. When you were going to Kilimanjaro, I was like, oh my God. I said, but I had a bunch of product launches going on at work and I was like, I can't.
Hey, dude,
I can't take off. But
the adventure team is going to, I do believe, New Zealand in about 18 months, sir.
I may save up my time and go do some true crazy stuff with James Gray. Where there's guns and go do the dart stuff. Yeah.
Hey, I'm in.
Yeah.
Whenever you say, dude,
yeah.
I'm all in.
Yeah. I'll have to lie to my family and Jen and be like, oh, I'm just going to a class. Not really going to a third world country and carrying around machine guns. No, it's just a class. Nothing to see here, folks. So yeah, and
I can't let you do that one by yourself.
You better not. We'll have to blindfold gag Jonathan and drag him along too. Right? Although his wife may. That's going to be the real obstacle. Is not getting Jonathan to go. Because Jonathan will be like, oh yeah, I'm down. It's going to be getting his wife to be like, y'all are going where and doing no.
No. Well, I don't know. My wife nowadays, she's kind of.
Well, yeah, y'all are y'all are in the final baby countdown.
Yes, 30 days, man. Can you believe it?
God, 30 days. Wow.
She is 9 months pregnant as of yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
And wow. So,
wow.
She's probably at the point now where she's just like, everyone get away from me.
You know what? She's not. God bless the fluffy cloud thing up in the sky. Man, I am just so stoked that she has had textbook perfect pregnancy.
Dude, I'm so happy for y'all. You and John both. I'm just proud as hell of both of you.
We did it.
Yeah. Finally. And of course now both of y'all are bugging me like, well, when are you going to do it? And I'm like, well, she's got to finish medical school first.
Yeah.
Although she and I did actually, not to get too deep into this, she and I did make an agreement that because she's got a gap in between one program and then the next program, and I was just, because I'm about 10 years older than she is. So I was like, look, I'm kind of getting up there and I don't really want to wait that much longer. So this is when it had, and she was like, well, I want to do it when I get into the next. No, because it's just going to keep becoming, this is, we need to make this decision now because otherwise this isn't. And that was kind of one of the things that was kind of revving both of us up before when we parted ways. I guess it was about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, craziness.
And then worse yet, you're going to get around me and John's kids and you're going to see how absolutely horrible and how much of a nightmare it is. And you're going to get scared and you're going to be like, nah, never mind. I'll go ahead and wait a little bit longer.
I've been around small children and changed poopy diapers for a number of years. So that part won't bother me, but it will bother her, which my dad did that to my mother.
Really?
My dad was a lot older than my mom too. And he was kind of setting, he was like, I want kids. And just, he kept wanting to put it off. And she was pretty young. And so she was just like, no, I'm ready now. And so that's what he would do. He would go take her over to a friend's house that had a whole bunch of kids and be like, go crazy. And by the end of the day, she'd be like, no, I'm good for a year. No, we can put it off for another year. So that was how he dealt with that until one day she was just like, no, sorry. We're having children now. So, and then came my brother. So, and then me, she just tricked him. So true story.
I love your mom.
Yeah. Don't mess with the Marine's daughter.
She's like, I'm going to get what I want.
Yes.
I know how to manipulate men.
Yes. And if not, I'll just beat you over the head with my M1A, even though it's bigger than I am. And with that, we wrap up our initial conversation on Ebola. I hope we both wound you up and calmed you down a little bit. And we caught everyone up on all of our shenanigans and going-ons while we were on break. We apologize that this came later in the season than it should have, but we've been catching up with a crazy schedule. And don't forget, coming at you Monday, the Ebola Show with the Survival Doctor from Houston, Texas. Till next time, stay safe and sound.